crop circles are coming out of the earth in spinning vortices of plasma. So they're coming up in pairs. And in my movies, you can see balls of light going over a wheat field slowly.
Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning into another inspired conversation. She doesn't need much introduction, other than I will say today, she truly is the American girl on screen here with me, uh, crop circle researcher, ufologist, and the co owner of C60 Evo, Miss Patty Greer. Thank you so much for joining us again today.
What a pleasure. I love your shows. And it's a real treat to be working with you and having you support our products because you take them.
Hey, I'm ready to do our little ritual here
Yeah,
on air in a little bit. You want to start it this way?
I think we should.
By the way, I love that shirt, Patty. Love it,
Thank you.
love
Well,
it.
I drive around in all kinds of vehicles, and I really like to sport not flying a flag but wearing it. So I'm doing the coconut oil also. Cheers! And anybody out there, go for it.
Cheers.
Mm. I did
This is the only shot in the world I do. This is as hard as I go.
pretty much me too. This is my drink of choice. Do you know the purpose of the word shot? I learned it recently, speaking of bullets. In the olden days, when the guys used to go into the bar, if they didn't have money for whiskey, they would trade a bullet. And the bartender would go, "Great, I'll trade you a shot for a shot."
There you go.
That's where shot
Makes
came
all the
from.
sense. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll take this to the education memory bank. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Now I know why we call it a shot.
right?
Patty, we talked about many things in our past conversations, but you said to me, I want to share a story with you, a story from 10 years ago.
Yep.
You brought up a name that we're all familiar with, or most of us. So I'm going to give you the stage here because you have had such a colorful past in such, such colorful circles of life. So we'd love to hear a little more about it.
Thank you. Probably because my partner, my wonderful conservative, he calls himself a nerd, science partner, Chris, is traveling today. I got the opportunity to just speak with you. And because I actually watch your shows, I don't just work with you, but I love your shows. Today was a gripper. Yeah, the Agenda 2030. And you did it live, and I popped on, and it was just gripping because this is what we were talking about when there used to be an actual field of research in ufology, the field of UFOs. And I don't know how many of your audience has any idea my past, but my website is cropcirclefilms.com. I made 8 movies without any training or intention to do it, but I was moved to go to the crop circles for physical healing. And the very first one I went into was so shocking that I was completely sold. And I came back the next year alone and spent 9 weeks going in every crop circle that happened in Wiltshire, England, all the way to Stonehenge to Glastonbury. And it was all new to me, but it was like I couldn't get enough. And every crop circle I'd walk in, there were brilliant people, not hippies, not that hippies wrong, because I was, still am probably, but the little hairs would go up on my arm in every crop circle that was real, which was most of them.
So Patty, I'm sorry, I got to ask you, after having done all this research and all the movies and all, what are crop circles to the best of your knowledge?
Well, it took until my 8th movie to learn the real science that was discovered in the lab of William Levengood and his secret partner, Penny Kelly. And they were so suppressed because they actually hit the nail on the head. And I was taken to Lefty's, William Levengood, they called him Lefty, and Penny's farm uh, when I was making my last film that I didn't know I was making. And once I got to Penny's house and learned who she was, um, It shocked me so much that I had to come back. She invited me to the wake a year after he died. My final film, Crop Circle Diaries, explains the real science, which is this, and I haven't heard anybody else say it. I believe it's true. Crop circles are coming out of the earth in spinning vortices of plasma. So they're coming up in pairs. And in my movies, you can see balls of light going over a wheat field slowly. And then the wheat goes down in seconds. And there's a pattern emblazoned in the field. Now, on the ground, you can see flattened wheat in a perfect swirl, but from the air, it's like, oh my God, that's the Fibonacci sequence, or the Mandelbrot mathematics, or some kind of ancient code, or a language, or a picture of a hummingbird. Wow, that's the same as the Nazca line, Thunderbird. So, like all these different formations that are visible from the air, but on the earth, all you see is the flattened wheat and the flawless walls of standing wheat around it. So, crop circles are images laid in a wheat field, but people don't know that they're not from lasers in space. They're all fake military. Some people want to push that. The guys with boards and ropes, Doug and Dave, the famous duo. Um, but the TV camera said, okay, let's see you make one, Doug and Dave. And it was a joke. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like the presidency now, or the Congress of half the people. It's like they're a clown show. And I
It's a
don't mean to
cartoon
be disrespectful, but anybody that's
to
awake
clowns. You
would
don't mean to be disrespectful to clowns?
to clowns. Yeah, no wonder people are scared of clowns. But when I was making my movies, it was shocking to me that I made seven without knowing how crop circles happened, which most of the world doesn't know, that they're actually coming out of the conscious earth that is an alive being. And people don't want to admit that the earth herself is alive, or itself is alive, or they self, or zit self, or whatever you. I'm teasing. Um, yeah, very 2024 comment there. But we are so miscommunicating reality now. And my whole career has been looking at things I've never seen. So we were talking about Jim Mars. And Jim Mars was probably one of my favorite people that I did all these events with. Stan
I tip my hat to Jim Morris wherever he is. Great, 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 great man. Great man.
Yeah, great man. And he's about as tall as me, and I'm not very tall. So he's a little guy with a big hat and a big brain and a huge heart. Lovely wife, and he was very alive when we were working together. And then within a short period of time, all the greats were very dead. Now, hmm, okay, that's all I want to say, period. But Jim Mars did something exceptional on one of our numerous gigs together where I said, okay, let's go into the woods and talk. So he and I would go into the forest and we'd sit down and we'd talk about what he knew, what I knew, and we'd trade information. But my favorite thing that nobody probably knows about Jim Mars is that with all that wisdom, he chose to have a loaded cannon at the top of his driveway that worked.
I, hey, Patty, I totally relate to that. You don't even
Right?
know how much
Oh,
you.
no, I brought it to you
I
on
totally
purpose.
relate to that.
So you gotta oil it, you gotta, like, get your balls in line, but, he was ready for what
She
we're
said you got
dealing
to
with.
get your balls in line.
That
You
might
got to
be
get
the
the
title.
cannonballs in line.
That's
Yeah,
what Jim
I mean,
said. No, he didn't, I said it.
got to get the brass balls ready, guys. Yeah.
So 2030 was on the tip of our tongues back then. We knew it was coming, but we were conspiracy theorists. And when I discovered that crop circles were coming out of the conscious earth, that they were messages from the earth to her, everything alive and everything flying over and everything walking on the earth, like she's giving us information such as at the turn of the century, do you remember the alien face and the round disc that had a binary code? The disc said, and this was right after 9/11, beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Oof. Believe there is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Now that went across the world. Everybody talked about it, and then it disappeared. And then when was the BP oil spill? 2009. And that was the weirdest summer because the summer before, it was all birds, fish, insects, and it was the ancient ones included, the scarab, the bee, the dragonfly. The birds were the ancient, God, I'm getting goosebumps remembering all this. The rising phoenix was a crop circle with the flames at the base. Whoa. I mean, how do they do that in wheat? They don't. She does. And when people say, oh, it's the aliens in the earth, I'm sorry, but I beg to differ. Not that I've been in there, but it feels to me like a God consciousness, a true earth consciousness that's been communing with us. And when she told us, it told us that the birds, fish, bugs were challenged, like there wasn't sacred geometry that year, there wasn't mathematics, there was barely any binary codes. It was all pictures of birds, fish, bugs. And then they slaughtered them with the BP oil spill, the beginning of our removing the oil reserves. And we didn't really know the setup was going on for this ridiculousness that we're in today. And when I heard you say the woke is almost out, it's like, I got a big boot. Let's give it a kick out the door because it's embarrassing. And when I upgraded my Facebook yesterday, now in my, address, name, phone number of the company, it's gender, it's pronouns. They're asking all these just 2024 ish commentary questions. And it's like, you know what? I'm not playing. And
No.
yeah. And I think not playing is the key. And my friends are like, how are you keeping your brain on with all the stuff that you know? And there's only one answer, and it's the big bottle. It's the Evo. I'm always going to bring it around because I give my brain a lot of credit. Plus, I'm older. But the Evo has knocked my brain into full bore boogie.
But not just your brain, Patty. I'm gonna put you on a spot here.
Okay.
You you did something before we went on the show. You had to get your big spoon, and you ran across the room. You did a little ditty dance there, and then you came back. Now, why this is so astonishing is because you had both your hips removed not too long ago. Not removed,
Removed,
replaced.
replaced.
Replaced. Sorry, replaced. She still has hips, my friends.
The broken
Uh,
bones were removed, but yeah, they were replaced by bionic airplane hips.
but you are dancing, you are running, you're having fun, you're enjoying life, and you say that a lot of this has to do with your coincidentally with the habit of drinking this every day. And this is sort of, I can't say that I have had these kind of severe, because I haven't had a
No.
severe thing like a hip replacement, but to my feet, this is for me the biggest, always the biggest and clearest success story. To my feet is our 14-year-old golden retriever who, when we for a couple of days run out of C60, we noticed the difference between him taking it and not taking it at this point very severely. So,
Wow.
and this is immediately. If he gets it in the morning, we give him C60 in the morning, we give him C60 in the evenings, and it makes all the difference with the arthritis and everything. It's just astonishing. I take it religiously too.
Good.
Energy, my skin from the serum. So we're big fans of it, and it's so simple, so easy to do. But your hips have astonished even doctors, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the X-rays, basically I should have done a video of their faces. I was auditioning doctors because I don't feel safe in hospitals, is a nice way to put it. So I was going to clinics of known orthopedic surgeons. And the first one was thanks for the X-rays. Goodbye. I'm not interested. That's what I said. The second one was absolutely shocking. And he left the room after seeing my X-rays and came back in with two other doctors. And the three of them just stared at me. And I said, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm auditioning you. Why are there three doctors asking me all these questions and staring at my face? And they said, we've never seen anybody like you. And I said, okay, what does that mean? Crop circle filmmaker? I mean, they didn't know. So I'm like, what's so different? And they said, your x rays and the fact that you've been bone on bone plus grinding for years. That's not humanly possible to not be in agony. We're trying to figure out if you're mentally here. And you obviously are fully cognizant. And I said, yep. And I run a company on my butt in my house through all of this. And then they said, and you're clearly not a drug addict, which we would expect at that level of pain. And I said, don't do drugs. No, thank you. And they're like, this doesn't make sense. You're very unusual. And I said, well, if you knew the product that I had, and I always have a sample in my purse. So I pulled it out, and they'd never heard of, ESS 60, and or carbon 60. So they just kind of looked at me like, oh, whatever. But it is why I am so unusual to surgeons, and why I got through having this old vintage Mercedes. I just kept putting in this mega um, rich oil. Like, it is such a lubricant, and we can't say the inflam word. So, uh, Chris has a great word, inflammaging.
That's a good word.
Inflammaging, I love that because they haven't said you can't say that yet. But that's what our product is about. I know for myself that I highly recommend to everybody that's got hip, elbow, shoulder, knee, ankle pain, get on this stuff every day. The olive oil is the strongest, and what I do is the MCT, which is the least strong because I love it in my morning coffee and I never forget to put it in.
You know what's interesting, Patty? I only used to religiously take the olive oil. And in the last couple weeks, I just gravitated toward the MCT, and I'm really enjoying it. I can't even tell you why, but right now, this is my favorite. Of course, the facial serum. You know what was also interesting? And this is what we do before we even try. I mean, there is a plethora of products out there, so many that it's crazy. And I will say that probably only 5 to maybe 7% of those products are actually really good. The rest is just white labeled crap. Sorry,
No,
but
I
that's just
agree.
how it is. So we when before we started last year, before we started looking into C60 Evo, and I just reached out to a few of my trusted friends that are health practitioners. Some of them are more on the energetic side, others are botanists or herbalists or, very natural. I got a green check mark from everyone. Everybody was like, "Yep, yep, this is the real deal." So it has something that is way more important to me than an FDA approval or whatever. It has the trust and the approval of a lot of the natural and holistic healing community. So this to me, really absolutely confirmed my intuition, and that's why I enjoy taking it and I enjoy talking about it. And with you, I know doctors are always skeptical if they listen at all, but what about the natural healers and the practitioners? How do they look at in your community at C60 Evo?
I live in Boulder, Colorado,
You
and
should have a lot of them around you.
yeah, I'm sorry to say, I got here in the 70s, 80s. I was like into the music scene, my band, gigging all the time. Colorado was great, and we've been infiltrated really badly. We've got city council members running right now, and I've posted, vote them out because they're working with Monsanto. They are working with Monsanto to dump more poison on us from helicopters and drones now. We're going to up it because you're all complaining. 81% of the citizens complained. So now they're going to add drones. So we're in an area where they try to get President Trump off the ballot because they're scared of, losing our pedo business here. I'm sorry. I'm just going to drop it like a log because
Go, go,
it's not
go, go.
fun. It's not fun hiding the truth anymore. And I've already been hit with a directed energy weapon. It's what happened to my hips. I got followed up by poisoning, uranium poison. And I'm still here, probably stronger than ever, because I realize, crap, that stuff that I was saying really threatened bad people. But I didn't realize how bad the people were, that it wasn't just them, the peon people, that were doing these bad things. It's the agencies behind them that are pushing them and keeping the cops and the sheriffs loving the bad people, letting the criminals be free. And with Uranium Guy in Boulder, they didn't even go to his house. And they had two cameras on me in the emergency room for an hour. I showed them evidence of uranium, strontium, cadmium, and arsenic that he put in a bottle in my garage. I didn't find it. And I'm still here. The Evo is like this mega beat you up bad people remedy, because I have overcome things that I don't think I pray nobody else has to deal with. I'm 71 and I'm back. And
Incredible.
I bought a camper yesterday because my family are all into glamping in the woods. Oh yeah,
Congratulations.
they've all got their rigs, and I'm just jealous. And last weekend I stayed at a motel while they're all, along the river, and I was like, that's it. So this week I went, and I've been looking for a year, but anyway, it happened. It's in my driveway. I'm looking at it. It's about choosing us now. I really feel like I've spent those years trying to help the world wake up. And the 2030 agenda is the nightmare of all scumlords. The fact that Gates is still allowed to walk freely, or Fauci, or any of them, none of it makes sense, other than I really pray it's not more than 50% that we've lost this country. And I'm not losing my faith. I will not. And I know that taking this product every day is keeping my brain on top of my neck, my head. I don't know how I'm staying this centered, other than this is what I do, is this product. Um, so not only do I recommend it for anybody with bone and joint pains, and we can't say why other than inflammaging, it's an anti-aging remedy. And they say that the antioxidant capabilities of the ESS60 very different than C60, and I want to talk about that in a minute. But the ESS60 has been scientifically proven to be 125 times more powerful than vitamin C as an antioxidant in a peer-reviewed paper. There was another paper that wasn't peer-reviewed, and they said 172 times more potent than vitamin C. And what's most important in the difference about C60 and ESS60, which is what we sell, is that C60 is for other companies, industrial purposes only. It is made for tires, solar cells, ink, photocells, ink, and batteries. And we've been selling industrial grade C60 for 33 years at our lab in Texas. My partners are only 55, but they created this huge machine in college because they were told that carbon 60 fullerenes, if you can make it clean enough, is worth more than gold per ounce. Well, two college guys that, were like eyes in the sky,
Hell yeah. I'm
they
gonna make it
went
clean.
for it. But, they were successful selling to research institutions around the world all these years, but they didn't really knock it out of the park until I was recovering from my directed do hit. And I was laid out, and some person brought me a sample from their lab mixed with olive oil. And all of a sudden, I was like, wait, what? And I took it. It was like, how could I feel something this quickly?
Mhm.
And so that was my introduction. Um, and then luckily, I started working with Chris and having long conversations. And he said, oh, we know who you are. You're the one that's brought us on board, because I was doing all these crop circle shows. I was on coast to coast radio a lot, and it was easy to get gigs because I knew what I was talking about. And I wasn't some arrogant, person that copied everyone's research. I didn't read your book. I'm sorry. I didn't see your film. I'm sorry. I went to more than 100 crop circles over 10 years, and I filmed. what I saw. And I carried this old school camera. You would laugh. That thing was so heavy. And I bought this really great backpack, but I wasn't strong enough to carry the dang thing with a big tripod. So I had this dolly that I'd wheel into the crop circles in the farm fields. I mean, they probably got a good laugh at Patty Greer, but once I was set up in the center, like, you can't film a bad moment in a crop circle that's a real crop circle. And like I said, there were
Incredible.
very few that I don't think were real. But the in 2014, the farmers stopped letting us in, and they said, the few that would tell the truth, they said the entities are threatening to take our monthly stipend away if we let you in the field. We actually have to mow out the formations for the officials. So in 2014, I'm thinking, what? And I still brought Sasha Stone into his first crop circle. Um, and I did the most incredible movie with all the greats in the crop circles, but I trusted a Canadian TV producer who turned out to be every bit as bad as I could imagine. And I've got this gorgeous 2 hour film, and I was editing, and I put it in a drawer, and I said to the lady screwing me, I warned you in advance. I've made 8 films. I don't need your big TV thing. If you are going to change your agreement with me now, you can't do that. And I said, watch me. And it's only because I'm here for the right reason. I love crop circles. I love the truth. And I had zero tolerance, which I have told everybody in my life now. And you lose a lot of friends when you insist on truth, because most people have been so brainwashed that it's really hard to get it right every time. Are you finding that, or am I just in Boulder, Colorado, where everybody?
No, 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 no. The, see, the greatest opposition, honestly, is not even coming from the other side. The greatest opposition is coming from people um, that criticize, let's say, us for our work for going so deep into subjects rather than just focusing on the positive. Let's just affirm the positive we don't even know what we're dealing with here. Most people don't know what we're dealing with, the kind of evil, sophistication. So unless and it has always been my principle since I can think, if you want to solve a problem, you first need to identify it correctly. Truth leads you there. If you follow truth, you'll find the problem and the solution. Also, there is no freedom without truth. Truth is the foundation for freedom. So I really don't care. Critics, people love, hate, praise, or try to put us down. I don't care.
I,
I'm here for the truth. That's all that I'm here for, and that's what I'll lay my life on the line for if necessary. That's just how it goes. And I want to bring this back, and not in a marketing attempt, but I'll tell you why this matters. We are literally, Christine and I talked about this on our evening walk. She said, "Can you imagine how far we'd be, us humans, if we weren't constantly bombarded and poisoned and attacked by, from the electromagnetic to the poisons in the food, how far expanded our consciousness would be?" And she said, just look at the things that we're doing and that we need to do every day to protect ourselves properly from those attacks. And this is just one of the shields for us. It's not just optimization, it is also a shield against all of the horrible stuff that's happening until we can stop it from happening. So we've just accepted the fact that we live in a time in a world where you need to do everything you can to stay energetically balanced, to stay healthy, to stay vital, to have a functioning brain. It's just that way. So, we work for it, we invest in it, and we just encourage people to do the same to the best of their abilities. And one of the things that helps us greatly, really, and I mean this honestly, is ESS C60 by C60 Evo. It's just what we do. So, and you've become an expert in shielding yourself. If it feels like we all have our own little defense system around us, but don't you feel that it is one of the most important things in this time to do that?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we are fighting it on every level. We're not all growing our own food. And even when you grow your own food, the airplanes fly over and dump whatever they want. Now we've got drones and helis, to deal with. I call them target practice, but I didn't say that. uh,
Are you talking about bows and arrows, right?
yeah, bows and arrows and olden days westerns. So this product saved my life twice. This product keeps my brain functioning at a really high level. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm so smart. I'm just saying my brain amazes me. My mom is 95. She reads a book every 3 days, a thick book. She goes to
That's
the
incredible.
library and she reads another book. Now, they're not my taste, and she listens to Rachel Maddow when she thinks I'm nuts. But she has a really strong mind. And I've tested her. Like, do you remember when I was 10 and that Mexican gardener was tapping the cactus? And she goes, oh, conception, tapping the pokey pokey. And I was like, yeah, mom, exactly. 95. She's been on the Evo since I opened the company with Chris. Um, and my whole family's on it because it works. The last show I did with you, you were one of the my favorite openings, where you said, I just want my audience to know I'm a real man, but I use this facial. I
It's
loved
true.
it.
I used it this morning. It's true.
And don't you smell fabulous?
I do. My
Mm.
wife sniffs me, and not in a Joe Biden kind of way. She just likes to smell my skin.
Well, I bet a lot of women would like to smell your skin, but this on your face must make your wife smile. Now, does she wear it on her face?
Oh yeah, of course, of course. We both use it. It's just it's more unusual for me to do it than for her. I
Right?
mean, well, and most guys I know, we just, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of have I don't need a lot of stuff for my skin. It just works out really well. But this, I just love how rich it feels, and I'll tell you the difference between putting on anything else and the facial serum is it's it's like it's almost like goosebumps in the face for a little bit. It's like I don't even know how to describe it, but it feels alive when you put it on. It feels alive, and I love how it feels, and I love how it smells. So, yep, I'll admit it. I'll use it.
Good. Well, a lot of men use it. And every time I do a show with Chris, he wants me to talk so he can put on all the facial serums, and he's always loading it on. But the kid, I call him the kid, is 55 and he looks 30. I mean,
He
he's
he
scared.
does. He does look. I mean, we. I looked up a few photos because we were doing thumbnails for a video, and I was looking up a few photos of Chris. You can't find a photo where he looks his age
No.
ever.
Well, I'm sure I looked my age while I was dealing with the pain, but I'm on such a big comeback tour that when you saw me go to the kitchen for my spoon and I came back with a ladle,
I
uh,
love it.
and you mentioned, "Oh my God, you're walking really well." I said, "Oh yeah, watch this," and I backed up and did a little dance. But I'm actually watching YouTube dance videos, and yesterday I found one and I shared it on my wall, and I'm like, I got to get on it. I got to turn that up and start emulating those guys because I can do those moves. And
Will
it's
you
really,
do us a favor and have the camera running while you do it?
oh no, no, not until I master it. But my kids vaguely remember that mom used to hide in the back of the hip hop classes. I did. I take my kids and then I'd be in the back row, like, yeah.
I have no problem believing that. No problem whatsoever. None.
Yesterday, when I bought my camper, I said to the guy, how many times do you think I rode my Harley to Sturgis? And he just looked at me. If we don't live life, we're going to die, you know? And
Yes.
I'm one of those people that doesn't want to go all well preserved. I mean, when I finally lay it down, I want to wear it out. And I'm definitely on track to do that. The hips were kind of funny. And now it's only been a few months. It's like, I can't believe that I suffered that long. And everybody says that when you're suffering, get your hips done, get your knees done. You won't believe the difference. And I'm like, yeah, but my recovery. Yeah, I can't even find my stitches almost because I've been putting this and vitamin E on. And I feel like I'm friggin' cheating. Every time I go to the doctor, he's like, what? And I said, I'm going to give you a product. You got to try it. I don't think he did. But when he saw my stitches last time, it was pretty funny because I can't keep a straight face that I bring a ladle, but he goes, let me see your stitches. And the guy's gorgeous. He's like your age. And I stood up, I had to pull my pants down to show him my hip stitches. And I was like, aren't you going to say a few nice things first, like flirt? My daughter's like, Mom, you're incorrigible. And I said, hey, if I'm going to do this, I may as well make it fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so Chris is starting to get a lot more honest because we are seeing the C60 industry, C60, not ESS 60, go in the direction of ufology, the infiltration of the actors, the fake scientist, the products that say zero point 0.8 milligrams per milliliters and they've got 0.06, like a tenth, a third of what the bottle says because our bottles say it. And for me, when I realized how good it was for my personal system, I thought it was, wow, what a miracle for me. But they actually, since 1991, my partners have been making it, called it a miracle molecule. In 1996, it won the Nobel Prize in science and chemistry for its properties, that it was the best molecule in almost every application, never thinking that it would be for humans and pets. So
Incredible.
so they were, ink and all these things. And then all of a sudden, when I started going online talking about it, there was a couple of other people. Cliff High did a show, um, but they've all faded away. I've stayed solid because I know it works. I know it changed my life. I'm watching it do ridiculously great things for everybody I know. And it's this intuitive molecule. I'm not the scientist, so I can say it like this, that knows where to go. It goes in your body and it starts cleaning. So a lot of people, like when I was detoxing the uranium, uh, I got out of the house, and it was when I had the movers there that I found this vial, and I knew exactly who left it. And I had lost 25 pounds in like a month and a half from the uranium poisoning, and it wasn't even in the house, but it must have been,
Hmm.
yeah. So anyway, the detoxing was the Evo. And I was sweating. I had to change my clothing every 2 hours and wring it out almost. I was sweating so badly to get this poison out of me. And the only other thing I was doing other than Evo was natural oils on the bottom of my feet,
Hmm.
because I was, going to all these natural healers because I don't resonate
That's
with
where the greatest detox happens is through the soles of the feet.
people. Cut an onion and tape it on and put your sock on,
We used to do that when our kids, had high fever. We put horseradish, onions in their socks, and so really when it needed to pull things out, and that works like a charm. So
right?
yeah, it's
Well,
amazing.
I think we could benefit as a species by simplifying our choices. And Chris mentioned, I'm not even hardly looking at the C60 industry, but the reason he forced us to go ESS 60 once we started the cleaning process is because ESS 60 is completely different than carbon 60 for industrial purposes. So a lot of people are selling 99.5 or 99.9, and there's all these percentages from different companies. We don't do that at all. We just sell ESS 60, which is pure, C60 fully cleaned. And now Chris is kind of going and exposing a lot of the techniques that are just not true. And I kind of trust them after 33 years of only doing this. Whereas he says a lot of the new companies coming online, well, duh, they think, oh, just get a couple of spinners from Amazon and get this powder from, the choices are Wuhan, China, and Russia, other than our lab, pure ESS 60. But these people that are selling C60 online, I don't know where they're buying, but those are the choices that Chris mentions. And now we're hearing about sublimated, and they're saying, oh, it's the purest, and there's no solvents, and we're the only ones. But Chris bought every single solvent raw and tested it. I mean, every single sublimated C60 product from the labs that were making sublimated. He said it had worse solvents than ours by far. So there's a lot of false advertising. And what I'm realizing is that because I've been offered it so many times, and of course, we don't do this, but you can buy likes on Amazon. You can buy reviews on Amazon.
Anything.
You can buy numbers on YouTube and Faceplant, of course, what you get what you pay for. And our products, every time I type in on Google C60 Evo, there's just a whole line of trash. It's just, I'm like, why would but they pay.
Of, of course, and this is an industry, right? This is an you have sort of the opposition trashing industry. It's a it's bad karma, by the way. I mean, everybody's going to have to figure that out for themselves. All this negative campaigning, but you're touching on something I could do probably a series of shows on, is how incredibly polluted the supplement industry at large is, and how there's, like I said, this small percentage of companies that are incredible, and I mean incredible, and then there's a large percentage of just very mediocre product, and then a percentage of just trash products. So our intention is to, of course, I mean, our audience is our family, right? So if I wouldn't recommend it to my mother, I would recommend it to our audience. So this is how I go. If it's good for our family, I tell my son, I tell my daughters, so I tell our audience. This is how it is. That's why we stand by this product. Now, Miss Patty, where can people get in their first order or even a subscription, get a little bit of a discount? How does it work?
It works so easily. You just go to c60evo.com/inspired channel, and you'll get on a little store page that says if you want to shop more, tap here, and then you see the whole store of all the products that we sell. But on your page is the olive oil, which is our number one selling, and it goes 2 ounce, 4 ounce, 8 ounce, 16, and 32, the big beast bottle. The olive oil is zero point 0.8 milligrams per milliliters. We test everything in an HPLC machine, high performance liquid chromatography. Every batch has been tested. When our bottles say zero point 0.8, they have zero point 0.8. Avocado oil has zero point 0.6. And when we test it, this batch does have zero point 0.6 to 0.65, little less ESS 60 than the olive oil. And the MCT, which you and I love and resonate with so well, there's also the properties of the organic MCT oil and the extra virgin cold pressed olive oil that we bought from the same farm for years. So we don't do Costco oils, which a lot of these C60 online companies are doing. And I did a show with somebody recently, had a lot of views really quickly, and only one troll. And I'm finding it really nice that there's so few people that are going, you're a liar, you're a liar, you lied about this, who are you? It's like there's really few of them now. And it's so easy to block, delete, because we have to move forward. We just have to. So on your page, and I'm just saying, in case people um, don't understand that you're not doing an infomercial, but we're trying to share some wisdom here to make life easier for all of us that don't want to be sick all the time, mentally so worn out from knowing what's happening, because your audience knows a lot about what's happening. I will say the discounts, now that you've got 3 oils, all the different sizes, the amazing facial serum is on your page, also your landing page. And it took me a minute to get the guys to say yes to doing a face serum, because
Do it.
they were
Do it.
making oils. They were making
Do it.
oils, yeah, for years. And
Do they did it for us guys because we don't mix stuff, and so it needs to be simple. But for all the guys, even if you have beards like me, would not try it. Your wife's, your girlfriends are gonna love it. Trust me.
yeah, my best friend says her husband crawls into bed and he just She goes, "Oh, hashtag sniff my face." I mean, they're like cracking jokes in bed, because the product smells that good. But I did design the facial serum that you love with Brigitte Mars, who's written all these books on raw foods, natural healing. It is so natural, but it's got a base of something I don't think any other face serum does: chia seed oil. I think that's a first. Finished with rosemary oil. There's 21 natural, organic, vegan ingredients, and it has two of our products in it as well, the avocado and the MCT, which are fabulous for skin. My partners, once they quit fighting and they realized, oh my God, we're selling this facial serum like crazy, they started playing around with peptides. So now we have two facial serum choices. And this one is the ESS60 oil formula and a cream formula with peptides, and it's blue. And I said to the guys, show me the ingredients. Nope, I don't want emulsifiers. So they had to go back to the lab, no chemicals. Um, and so we put it in two bottles because without emulsifiers or preservatives, if you activate fresh each time, you're going to get a killer, fabulous, clean product. So those are the two facial choices. And people said to me, I'm the one that keeps coming back to the lab with things because I listen to all my friends and I give a lot of samples out. They said our dog, that's, wobble wobble, has been licking the spoon clean. They have three dogs. They have two of them and a daughter. So that all three of them, take it in the morning and then they let the dog lick the spoon. And they said, oh my God, she's walking. Now we
Hmm.
make C60 Evo for dogs and for cats, which is the strongest. It's the olive oil, but we added a bacon essence to the dogs and a salmon essence for the cats. And a lot of people say my pet will just sit there and look at me until I put the oil on. It's pretty cute.
It's true. It's true. They love it. They both love it. And honestly, if I run out of the dog C60, I will just give the avocado one, the
Good.
human one.
Yeah.
He eats it just fine. Doesn't have the bacon essence, so it's probably it doesn't give the extra kick. But it's really about the efficacy and the results that we see. And
Amazing. Like,
this is visible. This is like, and I think when our children suffer, we suffer.
yeah.
When our animals suffer, it's the part that's worse is that they can't really tell us. And they show us, they do what they can, but I think sometimes we just feel like maybe we're not getting it right. Maybe we're not hearing them right. So it is a relief to know that this helps him so much. And about you, like you said earlier, I think the best thing that what we do naturally is if I love something, I'll tell everyone about it. Right. If I use something, that means I stand behind it. I'll tell everyone about it. This is how we roll. And if people don't like it, that's fine. That's totally okay. Move on.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So we want to direct people, go over. We put the link here. Take a look around, feel your way through it, see what speaks to you. Get your order in and give it a try. Use the discounts, right? The
Let
discounts.
me mention the discounts because I didn't get to that. 20% off if you sign up for a monthly subscription. Almost half of our sales, actually 53% of our sales, are resubscribes. Today there was like 110 like resubscribes. So
Incredible.
when people sign up, they can save money. And if you don't like the product, call, send an email. We don't even ask why. We'll just cut you off if you choose that. But most people stay with it. We have people that have been with us since 2019 when we opened because the products work. I loved hearing you say, I gave it to my dog, we ran out, and you could see the difference in him.
Yeah, I mean, he is 14, and he's had a full life, lots and lots and lots of miles, and so we can see the difference. Thank you also, Patty and Chris, for giving the discount and a special discount for our audience, which we really appreciate.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you were gonna say?
An extra 10% if they get to your link, and your link is hidden on the landing page. It's very easy, but it's just the link below. You go peek and you'll see that he'll say, there's a line that says use my code for another 10%. But there's so many discounts along the way. If you buy a dozen, you get 25% and another 10% when they use your code. We sell a lot of cases because people are stocking up. They know it's good. We are the only lab that hasn't run out of bottle caps or bottles or jars or boxes because my partners, thank God it's not me, have been at it for 30 years. Like they're really well stocked up, they're really experienced in what they do. And we never, ever mean to say bad things about other companies that are competition. But when I started with Chris, he said, no C60 talk. We are ESS 60 because that industry is what it is. It's challenged. So we have to be careful of things like water based C60. Chris says there's no research,
Hmm.
or the sublimated joke, or the sonicated joke. It's not really what they say because they probably really haven't done 30 years of research. These are all kind of new people that are trying to create a business, which I support. But for my body, or if I had pets, which I don't, I've got a lot of bunnies and squirrels out back, but gorgeous birds this year. Anyway, I don't put Evo in their food. I just throw the food and watch the dance. I do want to mention that we also, for people that don't like to take a spoonful of oil, we have capsules. And capsules are really great because you can travel with them, stick them in a suitcase, a carry on, a briefcase, your purse. But the capsules are also like really easy, but you got to take a lot of them to become a teaspoon. For me, it's so easy. And I recommend doing your C60 Evo before noon because it gives you energy all day long. Chris, my partner, can do coffee and Evo at night and go to sleep. I can't. So everybody's different, but the Evo really best to do it before noon, and then you'll be really pleased, I think, with the energy. I don't find that I'm missing any of my supplements, and I've got hundreds of dollars worth in the cabinet, probably expired, because with the Evo, it's all I take religiously.
Wow, I can't say that. There's a few other things, but that's every morning. Empty stomach, that's how I like it the best. Miss Patty, so when people go to c60evo.com/inspired channel, they can find all the information and discounts. And after they're done over there and they want to check out your movies, what's the best website to check them out? We'll also put the link in the description.
Great. It's cropcirclefilms.com. And my final film, Crop Circle Diaries, is the one with Penny Kelly. And the stories in there are kind of me admitting the truth. I went through such bizarre things in the crop circles because I was the fearless American. I was so excited to be over there that I'd go in the crop circles at night. And I'd say to the other researchers, who's coming? They'd go, you're kidding. And I go, oh, come on. And in Crop Circle Diaries, I told the story of this one circle I went in at dusk. And I was with a lady who is a major researcher, and we're walking in the formation. And I said, ooh, shortcut, I'm going in. Come on. She goes, nope, nope. So she takes off, and I walk in my shortcut. And it's like, oh, whoa. And I was covered in white tarantula sized spiders by the time I got to the center circle. And I
Holy
looked
moly.
down. Yeah, I mean, there was at least 50 on me, and I had a t-shirt and a black lace skirt and thong sandals, and I got undressed quicker than anything the moon has ever seen.
Wow.
I shed my clothes quickly because I was covered in white things, and I thought, wow, that's weird. And then one started moving, and I was like, oh, no, that's not weird. It's leaving my body. So I had this tight shirt, to get off my head, but
Good Lord.
I did. And there I stood in my underpants and broad. My friend came into that circle. She's like, moonbathing? And I said, you should see my, but I wasn't actually scared. I don't know what gets into you when you're in the formations, but the frequency is so interesting. So Crop Circle Diaries is a must. You can stream it for $5. But it was the movie that got me in trouble. And I want to say the punchline of Crop Circle research is that the reason they've suppressed my film so wonderfully is because not only did I say that they're coming out of the earth and spinning plasma vortices, but the seeds inside crop circles are delivering almost 4 times as much food and biofuel per plant with almost twice the nutritional value. Bigger yet, those seeds become super seeds that can survive when the weather is too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. and I was the only one that went public with William Levengood's work, and that's when I got hit with the do.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't know that. So I encourage you all to go over to cropcirclefilms.com, and like me probably you just put sleeping in a crop circle, or at least visiting one, on your bucket list right now. Miss Patty Greer, thank you so much. It's always an honor, always a pleasure, always a journey. Thank you so much for your time again today.
Thank you. Today was most fun, starting with Jim Mars and his cannon at the top of the driveway. I'm just reminding you so you can go start looking for your cannon.
Yes, indeed. Thank you again, an Inspired Tribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know, we love you, we appreciate you, and we'll be back with you again very, very soon.
Stay well.